Yo, what's up? Welcome to episode 21 of Throwback Hoops. My name is Rob Clayton, and joining me is my main man, Woody V. Woods, how's it going, mate?
Good, brother. Got my King's hat just to, celebrate the victory on Saturday night against you boys.
Nice of you to rub it in, Woods. I appreciate that, mate. But, yeah, we'll have a bit of a chat about that game later in the show. What do you reckon?
I'm sure we will.
So, yeah, just wanted to welcome everyone for joining to the episode this week. Just a reminder where to find us. We're available on YouTube. Please make sure you like and subscribe. If you want to listen to the audio, the podcast is available where all podcasts are found. All right, so today we're going to be speaking a little bit about the NBA All-Star Game. We'll also be having some NBL talk. And, of course, we'll be opening up another classic pack this week, which will be a little bit different, a little bit of a teaser there. So, as you can see, it's an old NBL pack of cards this week. So we'll try and test out the knowledge with the old NBL Futera cards. So looking forward to that, Woods. It's been a long time since I've seen some of those cards. So
excited, man.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So, all right. So, look, as we do each and every week, we'll start off with showcasing our jerseys. So, Woods, why don't you take us away there, man?
Yeah, for sure, Robbie. I might just stand up and you can let the audience know which jersey I'm wearing this week.
Sure. So, Woody's standing up wearing a very nice Brisbane Bullets #2 Torrey Craig jersey. So very relevant jersey with Torrey Craig sort of being in the NBA. Torrey got traded last week, didn't he, Woods?
Back to Phoenix. I was just about to speak on that.
Sorry for stealing your thunder. Right, take it away. I like that jersey, though. It's a pretty rare one, though, man.
Yeah, and you might as well tell the audience that you saw it online and you want to tell them.
Yeah, actually, I was doing a bit of a search one night. Don't have a lot of funds at the moment. It was probably a couple of sizes too small for me. So I sent it to Woods and said, check out this jersey. You should get it. And I think you bought it straight away, didn't you? So,
about 5 minutes later, it takes you. Thanks for
it. Looks good. It looks good.
So, look, last week we spoke about how the NBL has been a great pathway for guys to get to the NBA, Robbie, and we mentioned a whole host of names that have made that transition. But the first guy to start that recent trend in 2017, when he signed with the Denver Nuggets, was Torrey Craig, right? And he's forged a great NBA career, most recently winning that NBA championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. And as you mentioned, he's recently been traded back to the Phoenix Suns, where he spent part of last season. So he'll have this opportunity to potentially win back-to-back championships with two different teams, right?
Pretty cool, yeah.
And look, before he was in the NBA, he had a great NBL career. Firstly, with the Cairns Taipans from 2014 to 16. And then he spent one season with the Brisbane Bullets, this jersey that I'm wearing right now, in 2017. And in that season, he was the NBL's Defensive Player of the Year. He had all NBL second-team honors. And that success of that season is really what led to the NBA scouts noticing him. And Torrey also spent some time in the New Zealand Basketball League and a short time with the Gold Coast Rollers in the Queensland Basketball League, Robbie. But great to see one of our NBL alumni doing so well in the NBA and forging a great career, correct?
And a quick one on that as well, Woods. I mean, obviously we saw him from those sort of, early days playing with Cairns. He's really improved his game over that time, hasn't he? I mean, he's never going to be an amazing knockdown shooter, but he's not too bad a shooter out there now. He's had a few sort of games where he's hit quite a few threes there. He could not do that back in the day with Cairns and Brisbane, could he?
No, and I guess as he's developed, that 3-and-D player has become so important in the NBA. So for his ability to knock down that open three and also be a great wing defender, those combination of skill sets have been good for him to get that opportunity. Would you say?
It all clicked at the right time for him. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I like that one, Woods. Thanks for showing us that one. All right, so I'll just sort of show a little bit about what I'm sort of wearing and showing today. So I'm doing the old double jersey thing today, as I like to do, Woods. So I guess hanging over my shoulder there, you can see the old school LA Clippers Andre Miller Nike jersey. So that's one of those Nike jerseys that I like there. It's actually a throwback to the 1983 LA Clippers jersey. So look, I'll just quickly show you the one that I'm wearing, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Andre the Professor Miller.
So for all those who can't see, Robbie standing up with a old school Cleveland Cavaliers Andre Miller champion jersey. I almost forgot that he was on the Cleveland Cavaliers, Robbie. But yeah,
it's an old school one. I must say before I continue, Woods, I want to give a big shout out to a really good mate of mine and someone you know as well, in Jace. So Jace actually had this Andre Miller jersey before me. I'll throw it out there. I saw him wearing it one day and thought that is an awesome looking jersey. So it took me a while to find one, but I did find one. So Thanks for the inspiration there, Jace. So look, just a little bit of information about the professor there. So he played 17 seasons in the NBA, so pretty solid effort there. After getting drafted by Cleveland at pick 8 in the 99 draft out of Utah. As I mentioned, the professor was his nickname. He played with 9 different teams, but he never played with one team more than 3 seasons, which I thought was quite interesting. So Woody, Andre Miller's accolades include...
50-point game.
Well, we can say that, yeah. But in terms of actual accolades that sort of go on the resume, there's not a lot there. It's a funny one for Andre Miller. So, look, he made an all-rookie team. He also led the NBA in assists in 2002. And look, Miller is the only player in NBA history to have at least 16,000 points, 8,000 assists, which is 11th all time, and 1,500 steals without making an All-Star game. So just go back to that, Wood. So we're talking 16K points, 8K assists, a lot of steals, and never made an All-Star game. So one pretty interesting fact about the professor there, in those 17 seasons that he played, he missed 3 games due to injury in that whole 17 seasons. So that's pretty remarkable, right? I mean, look, it obviously wouldn't happen in today's NBA, but he was an absolute Iron Man there, and a massive credit to him. I mean, anyone listening to this podcast, if you've taken only 3 days off work from your job in the last 17 years, I absolutely commend you. And I'd be pretty certain that there's not one person listening that has only taken 3 days off. So, yeah, big respect to the professor there. So, Woods, do you reckon I'd have a bobblehead for Andre Miller at all, do you think? Or...
I know you do, man. I know you do. I've seen it.
Well,
I've seen it at your house, man.
So, the Andre Miller bobblehead. So, he's wearing that Cavs jersey there. He's wearing the home jersey. I'm rocking the road one there. So, yeah, another one of those stadium giveaway bobbleheads that you could only sort of get if you're at a game. They were never actually sold in stores. So, yeah, Andre the Professor. Probably a name we haven't thought of for a little bit as well, right?
And yeah, for sure. And a true pass first point guard. You know, those guys, those are a dime a dozen these days, man. You know, you got that scoring combo guard almost everywhere, but that guy who's always looking to set up his teammates before looking for his own, you don't see those guys much.
Hey, Woods, that's what makes that 50-point game that he got even more remarkable, right? He was a pass first player and he just broke out. So he's on that list of pretty obscure players over the years, you know, Tony Delk and a few others to name a few that have sort of got that 50 points.
Corey Brewer.
Corey Brewer, yeah. We should do a little bit of a segment one week on some of those. Definitely. Yep. Definitely. All right, good stuff. Well, all right, we might sort of get into it, I guess. Look, obviously, last week's episode, we had a lot of fun with Jaden Oakley, AKS Finesse Main, coming on the show. And we did, obviously, all our all-star predictions and sort of went through that. So I thought we'd just give a little bit of a quick recap on that, Woods. Obviously, now the all-star weekend's done. Just wanted to see what your overall thoughts were of the weekend. Maybe sort of something that you enjoyed and maybe something that nobody enjoyed in the dunk comp. But anyway, give us your thoughts.
Look, I really enjoyed it, you know, and in the past, I haven't watched all the events in the All-Star game, you know, maybe just that Saturday night with the three-point shootout and skills and whatnot, but I actually watched them all the events this year, and the Rising Stars Challenge is one thing that really stood out for me. I really enjoyed it.
I like the format, right?
I love the format, and those guys played hard. They were really looking for, you know, a victory because it meant something. And someone forgot to tell ex-Sydney King Jayshawn Tate that it was in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, man. The guy played so hard. He really wanted that victory. And just to see guys playing defense and you know, giving a shit about winning, you know, which is something that in the past it's been more like just a pickup game. But these guys really wanted to win for their respective charities and whatnot. And I like the format, as you said. So that really stood out for me.
It was pretty entertaining, wasn't it? So I guess just a quick recap of just the winners there. So the Rising Stars game was won by Team Barry. It was led by MVP Cade Cunningham. The Skills Challenge was won by Team Cavs. The three-point comp was won by not Ice Tray, but Big Cat. Who predicted that one last week, Woods?
You did, man.
Did I maybe predict he was going to beat Luke Kennard in the final? I think I did, right?
You did, man. Great job, man. Yeah.
The dunk comp, we'll go a little bit more into that later, but probably not a lot because it doesn't deserve it. But the Knicks, Obi Toppin won that. And, of course, the actual game, basically Team LeBron won that again, didn't they? And Steph Curry was probably the most unconscious I've ever seen anyone in a basketball game, getting 16 three-pointers. So
that was really fun, man. You see him just chucking up a three from the logo and just turning around and, like, you know, showmanship, man, you know? So amazing, I think I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that, man. I normally don't enjoy that game, but this year, I definitely enjoyed it.
He's
So,
amazing to watch. I love that alley-oop that our boy Trey threw to Ja Moran as well, right?
Hell yeah.
They had a good understanding, those two. They work well together there.
Trey was really enjoying that as well, you know, when Ja threw that down. So, yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
No, it was good. So I thought we'd maybe just talk a little bit about the three-point comp, and then we'll probably end with the dunk comp. And as I said, we probably won't talk too much about that. But, yeah, what were your thoughts on the three-point comp? I know for me personally, I really enjoyed it. As we said last week, it was a great field. You know, half of the people competing in the event were actually playing in the All-Star game. And I think they probably need to do something similar with the dunk comp. You've got to have household names there and names that people are going to sort of be interested to cheer and support there. So I really enjoyed it, and massive respect to Cat. I'm not just saying it because I like him and I picked him, but, you know, I mean, they're saying he's the first big man to win the three-point comp. Well, he's not, because Dirk's won it before as well. But I mean, he is a big man, isn't he? If you know what I mean. So, and he was just on point in that final. And I actually rewatched the final last night just because I had nothing else better to do. Trey was pretty unlucky. Trey missed both of those three-point strike balls there. So if he'd have hit one of those threes, he would have tied Cat, and there would have been some sort of, you know, a final sort of a shoot-off or something else like that. So, yeah, what were your thoughts on the actual three-point comp?
I think you covered a lot of it. I mean, it was so competitive, such a great field of players involved, and it meant a lot to them. You know, I said sometimes that these things don't mean too much. Like, we'll get onto the dunk contest later and how its importance has faded over the years. But the three-point contest, it still means something. And you saw Cat how much it meant to him, and him celebrating afterwards and saying, look, I said I'm the best, you know, three-point shooting big man of all time, and this is further justifying that claim.
And how can anyone not be happy for the big Cat too, after what's gone on in his life in the last couple of years? So that's a massive credit to him. And it's great to sort of see him so happy after winning that, wasn't it? You see him and my boy Zach Levine having that big embrace afterwards as well. That was nice to see. They're still sort of really tight, those guys. What about the format there, Woods? Are you sort of happy with that now? It's been going for a couple of years now, but, you know, they have the all money ball rack, which they choose, and obviously those 3-point sort of spot balls. You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it, man. And the Sprite ball sort of give for the new NBA, where people are shooting from range, right?
That's true.
It's a skill set that's part of the game now.
Because look, a few people have said, oh, look, it's hard to compare it, you know, Craig Hodges and all these guys back in the day and what their record was compared to now. But I'm fine with it. I think as long as they keep it like this, I think there's a few things in the All-Star weekend that do need some modification. I don't think the three-point comp is one of them. So, yeah.
Fine.
All right. The dunk comp. Do we have to talk about it?
Yeah, we'll just quickly touch on it. I said this to you after the dunk comp. Like, this is so stupid. You know, these guys get multiple attempts. They're spending 10, 15 minutes trying to get a dunk. Back in the day, it was one dunk. If you made it, you made it. If you didn't, you moved on to the next, right? You know, and you have a time limit of 60 seconds to do one dunk in. If you throw it up and you miss it, that's still a miss. That's done. You're done.
I think you had one chance back in the day, you? You did one, you had a second chance. If you didn't get that second chance, score of 0, right?
Yeah, whatever it was kept to a short time. People weren't sitting around. You saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just walk off in the middle of Jalen Green's dunks because he said, I've had enough, man. I'm going to bed now. Did you see that?
Yeah, and I felt sorry for those judges as well. It's funny, if you go back and look at a replay, some of those dunks were actually pretty decent. Like Toscano Anderson's dunk was decent. That first one he did, I think Obi Toppin had a couple of nice dunks, but you just kind of lose that momentum when it's taking 1 minute or they're having 5 attempts to get it. So if they kind of remix those highlights and just showed the actual made dunks, I don't think they're bad dunks. You know, that dunk that Obi Toppin did on his last dunk of the event, we haven't seen the dunk like that before, have we? I mean, that was pretty high degree of difficulty. But like I said, when someone's having 3 or 4 attempts, it just kind of takes all the momentum out there. And look, there's a lot of people saying that maybe they shouldn't finish the actual All-Star Saturday night with the dunk comp. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something I need to work on. But I think they probably, like I said, need to work on the actual field they get there. I mean, you can't make people go in. But, you know, imagine that if we did have Ja Moran or a couple of those guys at least that are in the All-Star game, rather than some of these kind of, let's face it, they're kind of no-name players. The average fan probably wouldn't even know half of those guys, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's become a bit of a laughing stock, the dunk comp. There have been a few good ones of late in memory, sure. But, I mean, these big names are like, I don't want anything to do with that. Whereas at the three-point comp, you've got all the big names coming. And maybe you're right. They should finish the Saturday night events with the three-point comp and maybe start with the dunk potentially.
There's been a lot of negative talk, hasn't there? So it'd almost be guaranteed that they'll change up the format somehow next year. But I guess that's probably the problem. They've had so many goes. Didn't they not have it at one All-Star weekend as well? They didn't have it all together. They've had that thing where they had the teams, dunking together, which was ridiculous. I don't even know who actually won that year. Do you remember? I think it was John Wall. I don't know. I don't even remember, as I said. But yeah, something sort of clearly needs to give. But look, let's obviously not, that wasn't exactly. The rest of the weekend was good, right? Cleveland set up their LeBron sort of recruiting pitch for him for when he goes back home and finishes his career in a couple of years. That seems pretty likely. But yeah, I loved all the other stuff. Like we said, the Rising Stars was fun. The Shooting Stars that was probably just the one thing we didn't touch on. What were your thoughts on that?
You're talking about
the skills challenge.
The skills challenge. I loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. Right. I loved the team format. Funny to see Scotty Barnes though miss all those little short jump shots.
Hey, how fun would it be to have a go on that course?
Oh, it would be great.
Moving targets, the pass, and everything. I thought Josh held himself pretty well out there. He was probably one of the better shooters out there, which is just saying something. And his passing is going to be on point. So
thoroughly enjoyed the team format. I think they should stick with it going forward.
And we got to see who that third Antetokounmpo brother is, because as I said last week, I had no idea who he was. So I know who he is now. So that's good.
No, it was good fun, man. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. All right. Well, that's sort of the All-Star event, put to bed for another year. But what we thought we might do for this next segment, Woods, is basically, obviously, there's no NBA games this week. We're recording this show on Thursday, the 24th of February. So obviously, the NBA games are back tomorrow. But we thought it might be a good time to give a little quick update on the 7 Aussies that are currently playing in the NBA, what the remainder of the season might look for them. So, of course, I say 7. I'm not including Kyrie Irving. He was born in Australia, but he's not an Aussie, and he's a clown anyway, so I'm not really talking about him. So we'll talk about the actual Aussies, right, Wood? So we thought we maybe, sort of just say a few comments and sort of what, how they've gone so far and what the rest of the season's looking like. So, I don't know, Woods, do you want to maybe take us away with your boy, Patty Mills?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, lot going on Brooklyn lately, as we all know. And look, he had a great first half of the season, a career year he's having up to date, and he ended up starting for most of the first half of the season because of injuries and various other reasons, Robbie. So, I mean, with the addition of Goran Dragic, Seth Curry, even Ben Simmons, his minutes may take a dip into the mid-20s, and he'll probably move to the bench to a sixth-man role, which he's obviously very comfortable with. And I think it may actually be good for him. So I think the outlook for the second half of the season for Patty is good, and he can just build on what he's done so far in the first half.
Was the Dragic news a surprise to you that they were sort of still looking to bolster that point guard position or the backcourt?
A little bit, but obviously there's that connection there with Steve Nash and Goran, and they're great friends going back a long time. So I'm not surprised that he's come on board, and they could do with another savvy veteran in that locker room as well,
It's interesting. All the mail I was getting that, Goran was going to be going to possibly Milwaukee there. So obviously that connection with Steve Nash and everything else like that, and, probably Marks and everything as well was the reason that he sort of went there. So
definitely. All
right, appreciate that little update on Patty Mills. So, look, I might take us away with our boy Matisse Thybulle next. Look, he's had a pretty solid season so far. Look, you kind of know what you're going to get from Matisse. You're not going to get a lot of points from him. I do think one thing he needs to possibly improve on, he's actually shooting a career-worst 28% from the three-point line this year, which we know that's not a good figure. We talked about that 3-and-D type player. Probably needs to boost that up to at least the mid-30s to kind of be, respected out there. I actually think having Harden out there might actually help him a little bit. I mean, Harden is such a weapon on offense that it will open up things a little bit for Matisse there. You'll probably get some better sort of open looks there and have a chance to improve those percentages. But, yeah, happy with the way he's playing. I think he's going to be a very important piece to that Philly puzzle. And you can see why they clearly didn't want to include him in any trades there. I mean, there's not a lot of people out there. He's averaging, 1.5 blocks a game and nearly a steal and stuff as well. He's a very unique player. So, yeah, we know we love Matisse there. So, all right. Well, I'll go on to his former teammate next, Woods. I'll take this one away if you want. So,
sure.
Ben Simmons, we feel like we've chatted a bit about him on the show. So, as you're probably aware, Woods, he did get traded, right? You did sort of see that. So,
I read that somewhere.
Yeah. So he's got that new number 10 that he's going to be rocking in Brooklyn. So he's got a number change there. Look, I'm looking forward to see how he looks there, to be honest. I mean, what I sort of read yesterday, he's probably pretty close. We've obviously seen him sitting on the bench, which I think is a big step for Simmons. He's been, we've hardly sort of cited him all year. I think he'll be a little bit rejuvenated going there. I think he'll probably enjoy playing for, someone in Steve Nash that, probably hasn't been out of the game too long. I mean, you look in Philadelphia, same sort of situation, a former point guard that coached that team. But Doc Rivers is pretty old school, let's face it, been out of the game a long time now. Steve Nash will probably be little bit able to maybe deal with someone like Simmons. We know Simmons is a little bit of a sensitive guy, and that's fine. He's a new age kind of a guy there. So hopefully Nash will sort of work well in there. But actually really looking forward to sort of see that. I'm not sure if they're going to wait until KD's back or whether they're just going to basically throw him out there. But yeah, either way, really looking forward to see how he goes and how he can sort of help Brooklyn towards that championship.
And you mentioned someone like Goran Dragic, like a veteran who's been around the blocks, worked with Steve Nash. It's not going to hurt for Ben Simmons to have someone like that in the locker room as well. So definitely good fit for him. Yeah, definitely.
So Woods, I'm not doing a few in a row. Why don't you take us away with Josh Green now and give us a few thoughts on Josh?
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, if you haven't listened to the Ball in the Real World podcast with Kane Pittman, you listened to that, Robbie? Didn't you?
I did. It was a good episode, that. Yeah. Had Tim Bontemps on afterwards. He's always a good listen. Yeah, it was good.
So whoever hasn't listened, please jump on and listen to that podcast. Kane did a great job interviewing Josh Green. And Josh Green spoke about how much he's enjoyed playing under Jason Kidd. And Jason Kidd, he puts faith in him. And I think he will continue to grow in the back half of this season. And I don't think the addition of a veteran like Spencer Dinwiddie will hurt him. Do you?
I don't think so at all. Dinwiddie, I don't know. He's not really going to go out there and lock down people like Josh is he?
No, not really. And I think even Dinwiddie, he's also another veteran guy. Someone that maybe Josh Green could learn a few things off as well. There's no harm in having him there, right? So,
of course. And, Woods, we've definitely got a soft spot for Josh Green as well. Of course, his dad was a former Hills Hornet, Hills Hornet in the Castle Hill area in Sydney, New South Wales, where we both play. So always had a bit of a soft spot and, sort of taken a keen interest on how Josh's career is going. So we still don't have his jersey yet either, do we?
Well, that's where you're wrong, man. I just put it in order for a Landale and a green jersey. They're on their way, man. They're on their way.
Did you go the City Edition ones?
I went the City Edition one, and I went the grey one for Landale, right? So the City Edition Mavericks and the grey one for Landale.
Landale one will be awesome. Very good.
I was just about to tell you after I spoke about Jock Landale, so that's a good segue. I'll speak about Jock Landale real quickly. Nice. So we know Drew Eubanks has been traded to the Raptors. Am I right, Robbie?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
And that automatically puts Jock into a more prominent role in that Spurs rotation. You've seen Pop has been, putting
and
more
Thaddeus
faith in
Young
him.
as well, Woods. So that's another player that was playing in that front court that's now gone.
Yeah, he's at the Raptors too now, isn't he?
Yep,
Thaddeus Young.
Yeah.
All right. So you've seen, as I said, Pop's put more faith in him lately, and before this trade even happened, that was already sort of a shift was happening in that sense, right? But I think in the back half of the season, he's going to have a lot more opportunity playing behind Jakob Poeltl. I expect to see him grow and show what he's capable of, right?
It might be one of those things. If they sort of start to get out of that playoff contention, which I'm not sure, they may end up, the play-in tournament. They may, once Pop gets that sort of win record as well, which he's pretty close to, he might sort of start playing, some of the younger guys on the bench a bit more if there's not as much to play for. So I appreciate that, Woods. Well, kind of leaves us two more. I mean, look, obviously Joe Ingles, not really a lot to mention about him. We know he was traded from the Jazz. He does have, the injury that he's out for the season. So probably leave it there with Joe. We've spoken about him a bit. And look, we'll finish off with the other Josh, of course, Josh Giddey. I know how much we've loved watching this guy play. I think I said last week, I've never watched this many OKC games, since back in the day where they had their big three there. So you sort of watch it. You probably don't expect them to win, but I just really enjoy watching the way he's playing. Look, I do have one concern. We know OKC's got a little bit of a history of shutting down players, Woods. We've seen it multiple times over the last few years. I'd say they're probably going to do the same with SGA. So I hope they don't shut down Josh. In fact, I actually hope they do the opposite and really try and showcase him. 25 games left in the season. If they really showcase him and he puts up some more of these numbers, look, I think Evan Mobley's probably got one hand on that Rookie of the Year trophy. But
agreed.
What's not to say that if Josh continues to play like this and finishes the last third of the season off in style, that he can't be in contention there. So yeah, really looking forward to see how he goes there. Anyway.
So what you're saying is you hope they do shut down SGA because
I do.
Josh Giddey's going to
shut
get
him down and give Josh 40 minutes a game. I'm absolutely all for that.
I hear that, man.
And then they can sort of have hardly any wins and get another 100 draft picks again. That seems to be the way they like to go. So
right,
good stuff. Yeah, we thought that was probably a good time this week just to sort of give a bit of an update on those Aussies playing in the NBA. And look, I think we know the All-Star break isn't the halfway mark of the season. It sort of comes a lot later into the season. But yeah, looking forward to see how all 7 of those boys go for the rest of the year. Anyway,
for sure.
All right, Woods, you ready for a bit of NBL talk?
Oh, definitely, man.
I know you're always ready for that, right?
Especially this week, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So, look, the Kings game aside, I just wanted to see now round 12's in the books. What were your thoughts on the round and what stood out the most to you?
I mean, the Jack Jumpers, obviously, playing really good basketball. I think they're 7-7, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment. Just sitting out of that top 5 and
shooting the lights out, eh?
It's top 4. They're just sitting out of the top 4. Yeah, Josh Adams went off. What was it, 22 threes or something they made in that game? So they stood out. And obviously the Kings, I mean, we've struggled to put games together, wins together. But, it really bodes well that we've been able to win some tight games against Brisbane and then against you guys, Perth, recently. And if you want to talk about a big 3, Jalen Adams, Xavier Cooks, Jarrell Martin, that's a huge big 3 that you got on one team. And then to add a guy like Ian Clark into the mix, who we saw shooting the lights out, it seems like he just got off a plane and he's feeling it right away. So
is there no salary cap again for the Kings, Woods, like in that when they got that 3-peat? Has it gone back to those days? So how do you? I know you're going to say Bryce Cotton and that, but you guys have got 3 guys that were good NBA players playing there. Plus, you've got all that Aussie talent as well. I don't know how they do it. Full credit to them, I guess.
I mean, look, you can't. Even Melbourne United, they spend a lot of money as well, man. So it's not just the Kings.
They've got 2 imports, right? They don't have 3 guys with big NBA stuff on their resume.
No, anyway, you know what? So Delhi's not that guy, right?
Yeah, well, Delhi's taking up about half the salary cap.
Yeah, all right. So no, but yeah, I think it's really promising to see, and there's a lot of criticism around Chase Buford and the job he was doing. And I told everyone, look, just let this young coach grow into his role, and we're seeing that maturation happen in front of us. So I'm really happy with the way he's coming along.
Your thoughts on the Hawks, Woods? Obviously, they've been a team that people have been talking about a little bit, haven't they? They're a confusing team for me. I mean, look, every time I seem to see them play, they're playing at home. It's unbelievable. I think they've got another home game Friday night. I don't know what the go is when they're actually going to get on the road, but something really seems to be up with that team at the moment. I'm just not quite sure, what it is there. They seem to be in a lot of games, but their defense is clearly not at the level it should be there. We have spoken about that on previous episodes, and we even spoke about that to Jacob on the previous episode, the Hawks assistant there. But what's your sort of take on the Hawks at the moment, and do you think they can turn things around?
I think they can possibly turn things around. It's going to be tough for them to make the top 4 with Sydney playing so well. The problem is that Brian Goorjian just will not utilize his local talent at all. Do you know what I mean? He's hell-bent on playing, Xavier Rathan-Mays and not playing Emmett Nair and not playing AJ Ogilvy. I mean, these guys need to play a little bit more. In previous seasons, in fact, when he coached Sydney, he'd go 9-10 deep, right? Now he's just stuck on 7 or 8 in the rotation. And he's not budging on that, despite the team not performing well. And Xavier Rathan-Mays, look, he's okay, but I think that defensively he's a bit of a liability. And
he was probably supposed to be a bit better on the defensive end, wasn't he? I was going to say as well, Woods, we heard our boys, Joe and Andrew on the NBL podcast, NBL Pocket podcast this week, talk about Tyler Harvey, and he's been one for me. He just seems like a shell of a player. I mean, let's not forget he was in the top 3 or top 2 even for MVP voting this year. I mean, he wouldn't be in the top 30 for MVP voting if they were to do that. What do you think's happening with him?
I really don't know what's going on there. And he's got the ball in his hands a lot. I mean, the whole idea was to bring in Xavier Rathan-Mays and maybe even utilize Emmett Nair a little bit so he could play a little bit more off the ball. But it seems like there's a lot of pounding the rock, James Harden style, a little bit with Tyler Harvey this year.
Yeah, and his shot seems to be really off, doesn't it? He's certainly not shy getting him up, but they're just not falling for him. So, yeah, and that's supposed to be a good shooting gym, right, that they seem to play all their games in. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but all right. Now, Woods, I'm just seeing something on the run sheet. It said, let's talk about Saturday night's game. Do we have to do that? Or?
Tell me about me about the Vic Law incident, man. I want to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, right? I guess just for the listeners and the audience there, Woods and I, as we mentioned, we went out to the game. I've got to say, even though it wasn't my team winning, I thought that really was one of the games of the year. It was high scoring. It had excitement. It sort of went right down to the wire. Look, the first thing I did when we got home on Saturday night, Woods, I fired up the Foxtel IQ and I watched the 4th quarter of that game. And
you told me.
Crazy. There was 2 different times where, Sydney were up 11 points there. Perth kept on fighting back. Cotton was just hitting every shot he took. Travers really stepped up, and Jesse was sort of big in that 4th quarter. But, I think it was just Adams and Jarrell Martin. They just always seemed to have an answer there. We'd come back, and one of those 2 guys had hit a big shot. Jarrell Martin was huge in the 4th quarter. I know you were cheering on his points total during the game as well, which was good. But, I mean, look, it was a pretty frustrating end to watch that, Firstly, Vic Law had that decent sort of look, missed it. That was okay. I was fine with that shot. We got another look. Bryce Cotton had that 3 from the top of the key that basically went in and went out. I mean, that could have been game over if he got that. But the big one for me is that last play that they ran with Vic Law taking that 3-pointer down 1, a metre or so outside the three-point line. It just wasn't needed, that shot. I would have loved to have seen him either try and get inside, keeping in mind they were down one, try and get a chance to get a two-pointer or at least get fouled. Or probably would you have maybe not given the ball to the best player in the NBL Woods and get the ball to Bryce and just let him go to work?
Well, Cotton gave it to Law, and he
probably wanted it back.
It back, right? And
he had a good defender on him. We know one, he's very long and he's a good defender, and he sort of definitely disrupted Cotton a little bit when he came on. But that was just a terrible shot. And just to complicate matters further, I think, was it Cooks or Martin or someone that got that rebound there? We had Jesse Wagstaff and Travis just standing around looking at him. It's just a total brain fade there. They just were not fouling, right?
Man.
Had they have fouled there, even if Sydney made both free throws, it still only would have been a 3-point lead. There would have been about 10 seconds left, maybe a little bit less than that. But instead, as I said, a couple of guys had brain fades there. Sydney threw the ball down the other end and got a big dunk on the buzzer that made the crowd go crazy. So, yeah, but either way, it was a really good game, right? It was fun going out and watching that.
Definitely. And do you want to speak a little bit about the jersey incident, that you told me about? Vic Law ripping his jersey and not...
Yeah, it was interesting. So a few people have probably noticed, I know they said in the coverage, where's Vic Law gone? So you could see he went off to the bench. I believe it was in the third quarter. He was having a bit of a temper tantrum, old Vic Law, and he did the old Incredible Hulk and did that. He ripped a hole basically down the front bit of the jersey there. So, look, it happens from time to time. Obviously, Perth with a road team, which... let's face it, they're always the road team, thanks to Mr. McGowan. But anyway, he went into the back room with the trainers and everything else like that. Apparently, they couldn't find a replacement jersey. So, I like this word, Woods, a little bit of amateur hour going on there. That's something they should have had sort of ready. So they eventually found someone. I was wearing a white Wildcats jersey in the crowd. They could have asked me. I would have taken that off my back if Vic Law could have worn that. But, they eventually found one. But he was off for a lot of time there. And you could obviously see in that press conference that, ScoMo was obviously pretty annoyed about that. Obviously, it was, a pretty frustrating game for him. And that would have certainly frustrated him to, have his second best player missing for so long just for something so stupid like that. So Wildcats, maybe you guys, get the uniform guy to pack sort of some spare sets for these road games next time. But yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting. It probably made a bit of a difference in the game, right? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, what I thought we'd do, Woods, we've got a really big round 13 coming up this week, don't we? I think we've got 8 games in 6 days. Starts off tonight. Cairns and Brisbane tonight, right? Yeah, you're putting that up now. So, yeah, just thought maybe you could sort of read us through those games or just give some quick thoughts.
All right. We'll start off with Cairns and Brisbane tonight.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got?
Well, we haven't had NBL for a couple of nights now, Wood, so I'm getting a little bit edgy now. So looking forward to watch that. We've got a bye tonight for our Thursday night comp. So I'm actually going to say Cairns to bounce back on this one. I don't feel very confident with it, but I don't think they can play a lot worse than they played the last few weeks. Cairns need to realise that you probably need to score about 80 points in the NBL in this modern day and age to win a game. So if you're getting 58, 62, 65, whatever they've been getting, it's not going to work. But yeah, what are your thoughts? You're wearing a Brisbane Bullets jersey, Wood, so you've got to say them, right?
Nah, definitely not. Tajir McCall had a players-only meeting, after the last loss. And I think that they're really going to come out firing at home at the convention center tonight. So I got Cairns for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Then we'll move on to the next game, which is tomorrow, which is Illawarra versus Adelaide.
Illawarra's at home again?
Yeah, Illawarra's at home.
Wow. Didn't expect that. Look, that's definitely a bounce-back game for Illawarra. When you're in a team not playing in the best of form, there's no better team probably to come to town than the Adelaide 36ers. So we know, obviously, they're going to be adding an import. I'm sure he won't be available this week. But there's a little bit going on in Adelaide, is there? I think they've probably been... You could maybe argue they've been the most disappointing team so far this season. I think they probably had top 4 aspirations. We've spoken a little bit about that import combo. I was probably a little bit harsh last week and I called it the worst import duo of all time. So I might have been a little bit harsh there. But look, what do you know about Scotty Hobson coming into this team, Woods?
Yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, right? Because it's a team that's probably, as you said, not going to make the playoffs. I thought that he might go back to Melbourne United where he's, got familiar faces around. And I think it must have come down to money. Is that set in stone? Do you know, the Scotty Hobson?
I believe it is. Look, although the way they were saying a few days ago it was Jerome Randall. Look, I was so glad they didn't get him. Last time I checked my calendar, it said 2022. Jerome Randall, I'm sorry, but he's not an NBL quality player in this day and age, at this stage of his career. He's a bit of a mercenary. He'll come in, he'll average, a few points, but I don't think he's going to add anything to a team or make any team that he goes to better at this stage of his career. So, whereas I think Hobson could, Hobson's obviously, a bit younger there. He's probably got a lot more to offer, a lot of athleticism and stuff like that. So, yeah, I guess we'll sort of watch this space to see when that sort of happens and that. But yeah, I think we're both picking the Hawks for that game.
Yeah, Hawks. I got the Hawks in that game for sure.
Yeah.
Then Then we move on to Brisbane versus the Jack Jumpers, which is on Saturday.
It's a quick turnaround for Brisbane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, the Jack Jumpers are playing really well. I did pick Cairns to beat Brisbane tonight, so I'm going to say Brisbane to win that game to make it a bit of a 1-1 weekend.
Less than 48 hours before playing their previous game, Brisbane, as you said, the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers are in great form. So I'm going to go with the Jack Jumpers in that game and Brisbane to lose both games this weekend.
Okay.
All right, so we'll move on to your Perth Wildcats playing Southeast Melbourne at John Cain Arena. Also on Saturday, nice doubleheader we got on Saturday.
Yeah,
so
looking forward to watch that one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it? And the thing that worries me as a Wildcats fan is we know that Southeast has got some, pretty big units on that team. They've got Ashley, they've got Joe Chi. Perth have got Majok and Hodgson, who both haven't really been setting the world on fire this year. Look, I do think we match up pretty well apart from the big guys sort of match up there. I think it should be a really good game. I mean, I'm probably being a homer, but that could be the game of the round. It probably is the game of the round, I'd say.
No, definitely the game of the round. Yeah.
Look, I'll say Perth, a bit of a bounce-back game. I don't think they're going to be very happy about that loss to Sydney, so I think they might come out firing and take that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Southeast Melbourne on this one, playing in front of their home crowd, and I think Perth's in a little bit of a free fall, Robbie, unfortunately.
You never pick Perth anyway, so that's no shock.
No worries, man. All right, so Adelaide versus Sydney. I don't even have to tell you this one. Sydney's on a roll. As you said, I don't know if Hobson will be available for Sunday. I think it'll probably more likely next week, right?
I think Sydney's on a bit of a run of one game around, haven't they? They seem to have played a few more games than most teams there. But yeah, I think you're right. I can't see Adelaide getting anywhere close to them there. And it'd be interesting to see if your boy Jalen sort of continues his run there, because I mean, he is just scoring from every part of the court at the moment, isn't he? He's very, very good to watch.
Oh, totally. He may not be in this league next year if he keeps playing like this, right? So, okay, Cairns Taipans, Melbourne United. I mean, it's hard to look past Melbourne United. I know Cairns are playing at home, but I think Melbourne will have too much firepower. And, I don't think Steven Zimmerman or Keanu Pinder are going to be able to stop JLA, are they?
That Zimmerman's a funny player, isn't he? He's just got hands of stone, doesn't he? The amount of times I see him just get a really good ball thrown to him and he just drops it and fumbles it. He's just, he doesn't quite have the hands at this NBL level. But yeah, I think you're right. Melbourne will probably do that pretty easily.
Right, and then we've got the a bit of a Perth flavor, Tasmanian Jack Jumpers versus the Perth Wildcats at My State Bank Arena, man. So talk to me. It's going to be fun, right?
Forward to that. I'm sure we have played this year, but I can't really recall a Perth Tasmania game. I'll have to actually double check that. But look, I think that should be a good game. Both teams have obviously got a double this weekend, don't they? So I think Tasmania, I can't not pick Tasmania. I'm going to pick Perth for it, but it would not shock at all to see Tasmania come out and fire and get all those threes from outside and win that game. But I'll say Perth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Perth simply because there's a lot of familiarity there, right? And I think the Perth Wildcats will be able to sort of neutralize some of those things that the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers do. And after losing to Southeast Melbourne, which I feel will happen earlier in the round, they'll have a point to prove. So I wouldn't be surprised as well if Tasmania win, but I'm going to go with Perth in this one, Robbie, for sure. Yeah. And then we've got a Tuesday night NBL game. Am I reading that correctly?
Are you also reading correctly that it might be the Hawks playing on the road as well?
Yeah. Wow. Well, not really. Yeah, on the road and New Zealand playing. It'll be in Tasmania as well. Behind. It'll be in.
It will be. Yeah.
I think it'll be closed doors, right? No crowd. I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Which is a shame, isn't it, when they have to do that?
Yeah, New Zealand did beat them recently in that environment. A few weeks ago, right? So.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to say New Zealand, actually. Yeah, why not?
I'm going to say New Zealand as well, man. You never know what they can do on any given day.
Yeah, they're one of those teams, aren't they? They can beat anyone and they can absolutely lose to anyone with that team. So
they won on that floor, I think, 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, on a Friday night game or a Thursday night game versus the Hawks. Right. You remember that, right? So, all right. I'm going to go with New Zealand as well.
Nice. Well, it's certainly a big round ahead, isn't it? Really looking forward to watching those games. And
starting tonight. Yep.
Exactly right. All right, so it's coming up to that part of the show that we know everyone loves, and I certainly know that Woody loves it because he gets a little bit excited. But it's classic packs time, and as I mentioned at the start of the show, we're going to do a little bit of a difference here, right? So we're actually going to basically open an old pack of NBL cards, which is pretty cool. So
I've been looking forward to this all week, man. So we got the 1994
Oh, you know you can get some random cards
Futera.
in this, Wood. You can get some insert cards, some pretty sort of rare cards. There's actually a special redemption Leonard Copeland card, which I actually got back in the day. It was one in, I don't know how many packs, but I actually got it, and I actually had to get Mum to take me to the post office, and you had to send like a self-addressed envelope thing to it, which shows how random it was. And then about a month later, they sent me this signed Leonard Copeland card. So I'll make that a mission to find that card, Woods, and maybe we'll show that on a future episode.
All right, so it's starting off great here. Arguably the greatest point guard to ever come to our shores. I've got his jersey. He's now on the Melbourne United coaching staff. New York City's finest. Who am I talking about?
Well, you're not talking about Ricky Grace, who is the greatest ever point guard, but probably the second would be Daryl D-Mac McDonald. So, yeah, what you got there?
D-Mac.
Ooh, nice. He's going the little dunker as well, isn't he?
Yep.
I remember these cards. These are actually quite nice looking cards. Show me a look at the back of those, Woods. We got another photo as well? Or?
Yep.
They're pretty nice looking cards, those. I like that. So, 1994, you said, right?
Yep, 1994.
Yeah, that is a very good start.
All right, so this guy was a naturalized center. He's an American. Spent most of his career, if not all, if I'm not mistaken, at the Illawarra Hawks. He then moved into the front office for the NBL. I think he might have been commissioner for the NBL for a while. Yes, Chuck Harmison.
I'm not just NBA, Woods. I got the knowledge of the NBL too.
Done.
Big Chuck, yeah. What height did they have him listed at? He was a big unit back in the day, wasn't he? Has they got the heights on the back of it?
Yeah, let's have a look. 202 centimeters. I don't know what's that.
Centimeters, yeah. We're a bit old school.
Come on, man. Come on.
Is he still around in the game as well? Woods, Chuck Harmison? I haven't seen his name for a while now.
Was he the commissioner for the NBL for a short while, or?
I couldn't say 100%. You could be right. Yeah. You know me out.
All right, the great Gold Coast Rollers import combination. You know I love these guys. You know I love these two. Okay, you talked about the worst import combinations ever. This import combination is right up there, man. Who am I talking about?
So you're going to be talking about Mike Mitchell and Andre Lafleur. So who'd you get?
Yeah, a special insert.
Oh, you got them both.
Card. Dynamic duo card. Lafleur and Mitchell. Gold Coast Rollers. Yeah, Andre
Lafleur. A cool card. They were a great duo, weren't
Mike
they?
Mitchell. Oh, man. What a great team that was. That is awesome, man.
Good pack so far. I like it.
You always say that this man is the greatest ever import. Bryce Cotton. You always say that. I always say, nah, man. I'll tell you who's the greatest ever import. All right. Who am I talking about here? Huh?
Are you being a homer? Is it some Sydney player?
No, or is it man. Left hander.
Oh, Leroy.
You know?
Leroy.
Yeah,
man, what a pack we're getting here.
Loggins. How good is this?
Look at the little runner he's doing there as well. That's a nice looking shot. I'm sure that would have gone in too. But yeah, man. You're already like halfway through the pack and we've got D-Mac and Leroy Loggins. How good is this?
Okay, it's a pretty cool one too. Hobart Devils. Had a brother, Sydney Kings for a while. Sydney
Darren
Spirit.
Smith.
Darren Smith, man.
Nice. And what is that card, Woods?
That's a Hobart Devils future.
No, but
force.
look, is it a special type of card?
Yeah, it is. It's called a future force, which means it's a guy to look to in the future. And he didn't end up having the greatest NBL career, did he?
Darren Smith, yeah, probably not as much. He probably was in Jason's shadow a little bit, but he was still a pretty solid player. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Oh, and you'll love this one. 1993 Final Series retrospective card. Grand Final Game 2. Wildcats versus Tigers.
Was that JC going up for the shot? That
it's the Alabama Slammer there, right?
Nice. I like that one.
And do you remember what happened in that game? Game 2?
Game 2. Certainly remember what happened in the deciding game. Perth won game 2, didn't they?
And hell yeah, the Wildcats squared the series. It was 112-105 win in front of a full house, 8,000 at the Perth Entertainment Centre. That's what happened, bro.
Happy memories of that place. Yep.
Amazing.
It's been demolished now, just like our entertainment centre in Sydney.
Oh yeah, man. Both of our entertainment centres are gone, right? Fond memories for both of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the Goldmark Opals Australian Sports Commission 94 card.
Sounding very random.
A big year for the Australian women's basketball team, taking the sport to its greatest heights with the 12th World Championship for women, fired by... I think it was in 1994. Didn't Timsy tell us the 94 World Championships might have been in Australia?
Yeah, that sounds about right. In Sydney, maybe, I think she might have said. Yeah.
So I think that's what that refers to.
Cool.
Okay, we got Justin Withers from the Canberra Cannons.
Wow,
a name I haven't heard in a long time, man.
No, I remember him. He was he played with Illawarra or Wollongong back in the day as well, didn't he? Yeah, Withers. He was a decent player. Is that your boy Tim Morrissey shooting on there as well? I can see that crazy blonde mop of hair.
It is. That's Tim Morrissey in the card.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have here? We have a Oh, man, we've got a checklist card.
Oh,
all right.
no.
A checklist card. What is this?
I know what's about to happen to it. So anyone that hasn't watched the show before, we have borrowed this idea off the No Dunks podcast, and Lee Ellis has a rule when he opens a packs on their card that you rip it up and throw it over your shoulder. So Woods, take it away.
This is an insert checklist card. So go on. Go on. All right. And we've got a 1993 semi-final series retrospective card, Tigers versus the Magic. So I do remember that series. It was the Southeast Melbourne Magic and the Tigers.
Is that long John Dodge on that photo for the Magic?
Definitely looks like him.
33, right?
Yeah, who could that be? Is that Robert Sibley? Was he there in 93?
Yeah, he would have been there. Yeah. The baseline bandit, Robert Sibley.
Yeah, nice.
He's going down the baseline too. Very cool.
Pretty good pack, huh?
Very good pack. D-Mac and Leroy Loggins. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered what else we got there, but we didn't get one of your Sydney Kings, did we? That's about the only thing.
No, we got Tim Morrissey in
that's true. We got Tim Morrissey's hair in one of the cards. So that's awesome, Woods. I'm glad you got a few of those. We can sort of mix it up a little bit. So good stuff.
Really enjoyed that, man. That was fun.
That was great. All right. Well, that sort of takes us to the outro of the show now. It's been a real fun one. I just wanted to sort of thank everyone for tuning in. As I mentioned at the start of the show, please continue to like and subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Just a reminder where you can be followed. Where we can be followed, if I can talk properly. So on Twitter, we're at Throwbacks Hoops. Instagram, we are throwback.hoops. And of course, our email address is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Woody, do you want to take it away with your TikTok details and the Patreon details?
Yeah, TikTok, Woody_V83. Please follow me there. You can find all the videos linked there as well to our YouTube channel. Patreon, look, if you can pledge your support to us, that'd be great. Jump on Patreon, look for Throwback Hoops, and anything you can do to assist us, we'd greatly appreciate that.
Good stuff. No, I appreciate it, Woods. So before we wrap up, Woods, I know we were talking before. I've been telling you I've been trying to get into this NBA 2K22 on PS4, right? I cannot shoot. I don't know what's going on. I can't work out how to shoot. So maybe when I get a bit of time later on today, I'll fire up the PlayStation 4 and just try and sort of work on that, because I want to give you a game soon, but you told me you're playing on like expert level, so I'm probably not ready to play you right now, right?
Start on rookie, man. Learn to shoot, get your mechanics right, bro, and then work your way up. That's what I did when I started playing 2K, but I think you'll be fine, man. Don't give up so easily, brother.
I appreciate the advice, mate. I definitely needed it. So, all right. So, look, just wanted to thank everyone for tuning in. It's been great fun again, guys. Can't wait to do it all again next week. Much love from the Throwback Hoops crew.
Much love. We've got a great episode next week. Look out for it.
Peace out, guys.